Welcome to Hazel Inspirations. I'm Leah, your host. We are back with Mr. Ford.
Right now, I'm talking to one of the brothers inside the system, a brother I know very well, uh, Brother Liel. He is Grand Sheik right now in the Moorish-Americans Temple of America in the VDOC. So, he's doing his part, strengthening other brothers around him. I've known this brother for several years, good, strong Moor. He proclaimed his nationality, and he's doing the work of uplifting fallen humanity. And he's with other strong brothers in the system with him, other brothers I know. And he's on the line right now, and he wants to bless you with what Allah has blessed him with. So with that, Brother Liel, what's going on, bro? Islam.
Islam,
Islam.
boy. Islam.
How
First
you
and
be?
foremost, I'm doing well. First and foremost, I would like to rise and give praise to Allah, creator and author of the universe. I would like to give honors, extend honors to our Prophet Noble Ali, founder of the Moorish-Americans Temple of America. I also would like to extend honors to his forerunner, Brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I would like to extend honors to all of the past and former leaders of the Moorish-Americans Temple of America that took their place in the affairs of men and made sure that I was able to get what I needed to receive from the Prophet through their efforts. I would like to extend honors as well to the brother Ford-Bey as well as Sister Leah for even building this platform for me to be able to give to you all what Allah has blessed me with, and I would like to extend honors to all that are giving listening ears to this demonstration tonight.
Islam.
Islam. Islam. So, like the brother said, like the Moor brother said, taking our place in the affairs of humanity. So, first and foremost, how that needs to be done, how it was done for me is for me to come up out of the carnal way of thinking. And when I speak about the carnal way of thinking, looking at being in our lower self way of thinking. A lot of times, especially myself, I was holding on to falsehoods that seemed to be true and not really having a gauge for what was true for what was falsehood. That's not necessarily to any fault of my own or my mother and father. Like they were coming up how they were reared up. But once I was running around and doing everything totally opposite from what I knew to be true, I landed in prison. And that story is much more detailed than what I can really go into tonight. However, I actually fell into this position. I wasn't reared here. I wasn't born here. I wasn't raised here. I fell into this position. How did that happen? Because my will became a sluggish will. I wasn't listening for that still small voice that we all have inside of us to keep us on in one accord with the Most High. So once I get into prison, and I'm still basically doing the same things that I was doing on the streets. Now I'm here for 2 armed robberies. Now when I get into the system, initially I'm not all the way on going to the left or in my low. But once I got into another situation, Buckingham, I was actually in there doing some of the same things that I was doing on the streets. I was having a good time in prison, and prison is not necessarily to have a good time. As far as to sharpen ourselves, go into using the tools of the workshop of our minds and figuring out what's really going on. So once I made this mental transition, I landed here. Allah saw fit to bring me to Comfortwood, and this is where I began my actual process of striving and struggling and dealing with the conflict that can't really be told in words. And I met some brothers from the temple. And it's something that the prophet said, Prophet Noble he says, people will only do things at the point of a sword. Now, my sword was not anybody, it was no physical being telling me to do this or do that. My point of the sword was when the people sentenced me to 65 years and suspended 43 of those years and I ended up with 22 of those years. And over that 22 years, I have to do 18 years and 7 months. So now, I'm faced with a decision because I have a son out there as well. I'm faced with a decision. Is this all that I want for myself? Is this all that there is? Am I only the person that came up from in Norfolk, Virginia, a part of Norfolk that they call Uptown, where a whole lot of foolishness goes on. Is that the only part of me? Is that the only thing that there is for me? So once I began to like truly conduct the business of man, which is reflection, and this is with the aid and assistance of these Moors that have been around and have really been digging and tilling the land and not doing it in a scanty way, but really digging beneath the rocky soil to actually bring out and pull forth the jewels to show to everyone else. Look, this is not for me, this is for you. So, on this path that I'm on right now, this traveling, I meet some very good Moors. One of the Moors, Brother Ford-Bey, a very particular type of Moor, but he was the Moor that I needed. Now, the way that I came up, you wouldn't be able to give me the prophet's lessons with roses and honeysuckles and butterflies and the bumblebees and the birds to me. I wasn't going to receive it that way. It had to come in a way that was a purging, and the only way that those impurities were going to be purged out of me was through fire. Fire is not a destructive tool how a lot of people like to display it or how they see it. It actually purifies things, and this is something that I had to go through. And once I went through this process, and currently still going through it, I come across the prophet's teachers, and he says something. He says, "I have brought you everything it takes to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself." Now, when the brother first said this to me, I couldn't understand what he was saying. But then as we started to go through it, and the prophet brought me to a point where he let me know that I had two selves. Now, all along, I always thought I only had one self to deal with. But in all actuality, I have two selves. One is the higher self, the other is the lower self. And both of these selves actually bring forth something. Now, our higher self is the mother of virtues, the harmonies of life. It actually breeds justice. It actually breeds mercy. It actually breeds love and right. They're just being on one accord with Allah. They're just being how Allah has already ordained it, the divine and natural law of things. But then once our will becomes sluggish, right, and we fall from that high vibration plane, and we come down to this plane, this manifest plane, this plane of things being manifest, our lower self comes a thing, and the lower self breeds something as well, and it's totally in opposition of the higher self. And our lower self breeds something as well. It's hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. So be running around, knowing the truth or knowing glimpses of the truth and not holding on to it. Be misleading people. Be treating my wife a certain type of way. Be not being the father that I needed to be. Be not being the brother that I needed to be or the son that I needed to be. The friend that I needed to be. Those are the things that harms. Why? Because no matter if I know it or not, somebody is watching my moves and listening to the words that I'm speaking, and they are moving and speaking in accordance with what I'm saying. So if I'm running around and I actually know the truth, or I'm aware that it is a truth out there that I'm not holding on and I'm not apprehending it, taking it for myself, I'm actually misleading others. So then once I figure out and I come to the realization that I have two selves and that inside of me is a battle going on, because this truth and this falsehood is strangely mixed within me. But I know for a fact, because I can see it, that the truth that is in me will conquer the low. And the truth of myself will abide. It will actually go forth and do what needs to be done. So, if we fast forward just a tad bit, I didn't want a position in the temple. I was being obstinate and stiff-necked towards the brother because I felt as though, like, who are you to reprove me? You don't know me. That's how I felt, because I was running around in the carnal mindset. But I had to realize that the brother was doing something out of love. Why else would a person choose to reprove another that is not of his actual bloodline, as we can use right now, to actually mold him to be a better person? Why is that? So I had to start to put, my biasness or my pride, I would say, or my ego to the side and actually take hold of what the brother was saying to me.
Oh, let me ask you something real quick, Liel, about what you just now said about the bloodline thing, because now that you come through the lessons, right, and
yes,
you start to trace yourself back, and then you start to see like, okay, maybe now in reflection, it's like, yeah, maybe he recognized that we are actually of the same bloodline. You know what I mean? Like where it's like somebody might feel that at first, but then once you come through the knowledge, you be like, oh, okay, right. He saw me straight up as his real brother. You know what I'm saying? Like no difference.
Islam. And right on that point, it's only through our lower selves that these divisions come about. That's the only place that it actually comes about. Because why? We are all one because we have the same spirit that's coursing through all of us, and that's the spirit of Allah. That's coursing through us. That's what's actuating our flesh. So because I'm caught up in my loop, I don't see the brother as a brother. I actually see him as a foe. When a person comes into contact with a person, and there's no present commonality other than the tone of the complexion of a person's skin. The first thing a person may say is, "Oh, I don't know him," or I mean, he's from where? Okay, whatever. But that's not what the prophet has brought to me, though. This is something that is actually of a if you forgive me, please don't, but of a European construct to divide and conquer. When we look at us actually being Asiatic brothers and sisters, and the only thing that makes us different is like the geographical location. But knowing that we all have one father and one mother, that looking at it like that, in that way, that's when we start to get to the point where, like Brother Jesus was saying, using the tools of the workshop of the mind, where we begin to actually truly think, understand, reason, and will ourselves to be other than what society has portrayed us to be. See, one thing that I noticed, and this is just simply through by the guidance of the brother Ford-Bey, pushing me like, man, you need to get out here and strive with the brothers. Because at first I'm like, man, I'm gonna get mine. Ain't nobody else is out here trying to get it, so I'm gonna get mine. And he's like, all right, get yours. However, if you come from those people that don't understand, all right, you come out of there. You understand? Yeah. So how do you expect those people that you came from to understand if you don't go back to them and help them understand? So now, where I'm in this position here, and I was speaking with a brother today, and I couldn't do nothing but praise Allah because it was a point in time where I couldn't see what was happening in my life. I couldn't see all of the treasures that lay before me because I wasn't trying to see them. I was given a blindfold that I didn't even know was a blindfold. And now when things happen, I know exactly why they happen. Because my footsteps are being guided by the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I'm only on that, nothing else. That's all I'm about is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it doesn't matter if it's the nearest of kin, the stranger, or the foe. Just because I am doing that, even the foe shows me respect. Why? Because they can see me from afar. Only standing on what I say that I'm about. My thoughts and my words and my deeds align with one another.
Islam. Let me ask you a question because you brought up a very interesting part about the foe, right? So, I remember one of the brothers, Brown Bey, he used to always say, when we give honors in the temple, when we open up, he would always say, and I give honors to the foe. You know what I'm saying? Because without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. So what do you got to say about that foe? Because you in a place that's full of foes. You know what I'm saying? Like, what kind of engagement do you have with the foes, and do the foes help? Did it hurt? Like, what's up?
The foes.
How you deal with the foes? You know what I'm saying? How you deal with it?
Man, listen. See, first and foremost, the only way you can deal with the foes is in your spirit self. The only way you can deal with the foes is if you are standing above. You are actually above the situation, looking down on it. If you are on the same playing field, the same level with the foe will conquer you because this is where the foe thrives. So you have to go outside of that realm and look down on the foe to see exactly what's going on. Because when you really look at it, when you really break it down, it's sort of like a rat running through a maze, and you can see every which way that it turns. But you have to attune yourself, become pure in heart, and keep your body cleansed with water. You have to. Once you do that, you'll be able to pretty much foresee where the foe is going to be. So, prime example, I'm currently, like the brother said, I'm currently the acting Grand Sheik here at the temple, as well as actual peer life skills peer mentor. Now, it is quite a few physical foes here that does not give any favor to peers helping peers.
You know, because one thing about the foes is the foes are not really external. You know what I'm saying? Some of the foes are very internal. You know what I mean? So it's like we talk about the overcoming the 5 foes. You know what I'm saying? So you know, break that down a little bit. The external ones and the internal ones.
Islam. All right. So yeah, speaking about the foes. So because, like I was saying, because prison to some is seen as a place of punishment. But we, as Moors, know this is a place, we call it a dismal crypt, where we go through a reflection of ourselves. And like the brother was speaking about the 5 foes, I'm gonna get there, but just really quick. The actual external foes, everyone that sees that you actually making productive strides. So it's not necessarily just administration or the security staff. It's the guy that sleeps right next to me, that sleeps over from me, the guy that sees me walking down the boulevard, going to put together my creative writing class, or going and opening up the temple, going to the law library, going to the IRC meeting. And the people that are there, they see these things, and because they don't fully understand them, they become foe-like to me because they don't understand it. Now, those foes are not as strong as the ones that reside within. And these foes, it's 5 of them that we refer to in the temple. The first one is the instability of man. The next one is inconstancy. The next one is weakness. The 4th one is the insufficiency of knowledge. And the 5th one is misery. Now, recently I done a breakdown, I done a build about these foes because I was putting together a paper about wealth and how everyone wants the financial wealth. They want the resources part of wealth, but they don't understand why those carnal or those manifest forms of wealth, why they don't last that long, because it's not backed by spiritual wealth. And the thing about these 5 foes that reside within, they only cause a person mental agitation when they are looking outside of themselves, trying to attain what they see others have. So you have, for instance, people that have all the money in the world, it seems though. And when you see them, whenever they show them, they have smiles all over their face. Even some guys that's in here with me right now, or some people that work here, they have smiles on their face. They seem like they have it all together. But then, you know, you still have a high rate of homicides, a high rate of suicides, a high rate of drug abuse, of alcohol abuse, rapes and everything, robberies. I'm in here for robbery. You have an abundance of these things because people are seeking to attain what they see others have. These 5 foes actually come from us not having a firm grip on our own minds, by us straying after things that we know nothing about. It actually comes about from those things. It appears to be this way. They're only shadows that they were made and will be unmade. We see these things all the time, but we even know it. I knew these things. I knew some of these things. Of course, I didn't understand them to this degree, but I knew it because, just like the prophet says, my sheep know the sound of my voice. Whenever the truth would come, my ears would perk up. But in the same instance, I would go and be diverted in a different way because I didn't know anything about the 5 foes that resided within me, nor did I want to know about them. But because you know, coming into these different spaces where you have to do the reflection part, you have to do those things. Nothing comes without some type of difficulty, like the prophet says. Excuse me, 1 second, because I don't like to shoot from the cuff. Like the prophet says, from our Circle 7, our Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 1, the creation and fall of man. It says, without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. So without a foe, a soldier, he would never know how strong he is. and thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. These are the things that we have to go through. You will never know what you're capable of. I would never know what I'm capable of if I wasn't challenged in any type of way. If I wasn't given these hurdles to actually jump or to overcome, or these brick walls to actually bust through. And this is some of the things that these older Moors, some of great brothers, these older Moors have been down. My brother Haz'el, he's the assistant Grand Sheik here. And the only reason he's the assistant Grand Sheik of me because he knows that I'm on point. And I was under his tutelage as well as Ford-Bey, as well as Stan Nails. Brother Haz'el, 78 this year. Been in the temple for almost 50 years. Been in prison for almost 50 years. And is still one of the strongest minded brothers that I know.
And he still plays soccer.
Yes, that's what I'm about to say. Still physically strong as well. Yeah. You will see me working out. And what's these right here, Mo? Yeah. Oh, they the 45s and 35s over there. No, I'm gonna get these 45s. Wow. And we'll get out there and work out with the best of them. His mind is as sharp as any of these older guys. You know, some of the younger guys.
Set to 20 pull-ups at a time.
Oh, at a time. He cut up like I don't know what. He cut up like I'm 37. He's cut up more than I am, but he's 78 years old. And in shape. You know, loves his beans and his ice cream. Right. But you know, if it wasn't for me having these examples around me and me having this amount of time that I would have, I say that, you know, I would be defeated in any way, but I would not be this man that I am right now.
When you moving around in the world, and you know, I don't care what it is, whether you're in the street, whether you're in the workplace and all the work politics, and you know, everybody tries to make it like it's about just the ghetto or the streets or the gunplay or whatever. And it's like, nah, it's people in corporate world, it's people in the courthouse, it's the judges, it's the president, it's look, he got 34 charges and convictions. You know, it's celebrities, it's people with money. It's not just, you know, everybody wants to put it like, oh, this is just like a prison religion. No, it's not. It has nothing to do with that, nor is it a religion in that way. It's really about a search of the self. So when you got something going on and you're talking about examining yourself and searching yourself, the higher self and the lower self, and differentiating between those two, because they can become mixed up. You know what I'm saying? Man is truth and falsehood is strangely mixed. So when you have that lower self, and you have to know that it breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. When you got to learn to differentiate that and put one in its place, not necessarily say get rid of it, because you have those two selves, you know what I'm saying? But now you got to know how to, as a Moor, you got to navigate that, and you got to basically start to learn about how to cultivate your higher self. And you get put in different situations where you basically are going to be like, well, normally I deal with this in the lower self. Like, this is what I normally would do right here. You know what I'm saying? But now I got to figure out a different way to do that, because that way actually breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. I got to go to something of the higher self that breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. You know what I'm saying? So explain about that, like how you either in yourself or in others, like help them navigate. Because I used to see this. I used to see brothers sit in the system sometimes, especially when I was on Greensville stuff, and they would be sitting on the stairs like, you know, Greensville wild as I don't know what. So, you know, they might be plotting on something, and I'm like, yo, what's up with you, man? So they like caught up in the thought, you know what I'm saying? Thought is the cause of it all, but it's some thought from some real low vibrations that they on. And so you trying to get them to navigate, even when you're dealing with them, you dealing with self, because it's almost like a reflection of your own self. So it's like, all right, when I'm navigating, helping you navigate through the lower self to find the higher self, you know what I'm saying? Like the prophet said, so that you will learn to love instead of hate. That's a whole process. It can take you all the way to the end of your life. You know what I'm saying? But it says to learn to love instead of hate, to learn to find, and part of that is about, learning who you are culturally, your history, all of that. But let me know how you, have like navigated or are navigating through the lower self, because that's all I knew was a lower self. Like, for real, you want to come to me about the higher self. Like, I know parts of the higher self because I was given certain principles, but when you fighting in the world as it is, I don't care where the world is. When you fighting and striving, you go into the low because that's how it's thriving, especially in the corporation, this corporation of the United States. So it's thriving in the low. So tell me about like how you are elevating or finding yourself and then going towards a high, or how you know, maybe even dealing with other brothers to try to get them to find a high.
Islam. Well, first and foremost, right, it was something that I actually like had to activate in myself, because what I find in dealing with others, this is in here as well as on the phone with friends and loved ones. We will pray and we will ask Allah for these things to help us do all of these things. But as soon as we come from out of that state of meditation, a lot of times Allah sends that blessing right then and there. But because we are not consciously aware of it, it will get past us. So I would, first and foremost, I would have to slow myself down. And like the prophet says when he says, be thou incapable of change and that which is right, and men will rely upon thee. When that happens, when I'm sitting in my bunk and I'm studying, I'm reading, I'm writing something, I'm putting something together, or I might just be watching the TV or listening to my music or something, and guys come to me with life-altering questions. Man, how do you deal with this? And I'm like, what is that? Something dealing with his relationship with his lady. And I have to first and foremost, like we say, conducting the business of man. I have to reflect on my own situation in order to be able to help this brother or this sister that I might be talking to on the phone with their situation. And what I mean is, when they are having these whatever the situation is, I have to actively listen to them, because it's not about me telling them the right way to go. It's about me showing them, because the prophet said, if I can get my people to think, they can save themselves. So if I know that my actual duty is to uplift fallen humanity, and the prophet taught me how to be myself, which is a Moorish Muslim man, an Asiatic Moorish Muslim, then I know these things. Now the thing is to unravel, just like you bust down a onion or something. Now once you get to the very middle of it, it's nothing there. However, the smell is there, so the energy is there. So what I do is I break down myself in order to help them break down themselves, because a lot of times, if you don't find any commonality, or the person can't see how you have actually traversed these planes, then you can have all the truth there is in the world, they're not going to receive it. So I have to always remain on my job, because it says reflection is the business of man. A sense of his state is his first duty. So the sense of my state of mind is my first duty. Why? Because I've built myself up on principles and that are right. Not that I know everything, but I'm moving in the right way. I'm holding firmly to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That's exactly what the prophet brought to us. That's exactly that's in our being from the jump. I want to go real quick. In our Moorish Holy Quran, chapter 35 on religion, and it says, he talking about Allah. He have instituted laws for the government of the world. He have wonderfully varied them in all beings, and each by his nature conforming to his will. So this divine law is already in my being. The thing is to get away all of the dust and the murkiness and all of the gloominess, like clear that away, because I have the truth already in me. So if I know this about myself, then I can easily sit back and pretty much be in position and diagnose the brother or the sister that is giving me whatever situation that they're going through. And this is not something that, okay, today I got it, I can lay back and now I'm cool. And no. This is not that type of thing. Like you said, this is not a prison religion. This is not something that a person can just pick up and say, oh yeah, I'm about this, and not actually be about what they say they're about, because it's actions, words, and deeds. It doesn't say deed, just one deed. It said deeds. So that's plural. That means it keeps going.
Islam. So like one of the things we deal with that we're gonna build on next time is, controlling rates of vibration, because we scientists, so we have to really understand the higher self, the lower self, and how to control these rates of vibration. When you're talking about all this stuff, it's like, these powers that be, they are sometimes they falsehood. You know what I'm saying? We have to examine, we have to know what the difference between truth and falsehood is. We have to know the difference between the higher self and the lower self. We have to know the difference. And we have to know how we control that in the ethers, how we control it in our own self. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, being that we close out of time with this, go ahead and give us a parting word for tonight.
I want to leave you all with something else from our Moorish Holy Quran. And it says, these tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of the mind where things are made of thought and when we build up character. Our square, our compass, our acts, like using our minds properly is the only way we free ourselves. The only way we free ourselves. One other thing, Harriet Tubman said, I freed thousands of slaves. I could have freed thousands more had they known that they were enslaved.
Wow.
That's what's going on with us right now.
Wow, that's right. It don't got nothing to do with being in prison. It don't got nothing to do with being on a plantation, because the plantation is everywhere. All kinds of people on the field. You know what I'm saying? So liberating that mind, like the prophet also said, I gave you everything it takes a nation to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself. So you might have to just, you know, try to save other people as you save yourself. That's it. And maybe they might see you do something good and they could elevate too. That's what's up.
Thank you for using GTL.
Islam. That was Brother Liel, and we're gonna get back with him in the future.